Hi fellow Django developers, Hezekiah here from alwaysdjango.com, where we discuss interesting Django topics that helps you grow, improve as a Django developer. If that sounds interesting, like, subscribe, comment, share this video with anyone you feel that can find this video interesting. Let's get into it. So, like, side note, right? I've already recorded this video before, man. My bad. Like, I'm very angry with myself right now. Like, I recorded this video before. I forgot to plug in my system. I didn't know my battery was going down. I didn't notice it went down off on me. Like, the video got cramped up, destroyed, and everything. So maybe at some point at this video, you might see some parts of this video that, like, parts of the tutorial that I've already like done, parts of code that I've already implemented. So, but everly I will explain everything as we go. So sorry for that, but sorry for the ramping, and let's continue. So today we are going to discuss how to add CAPTCHA to Django. Well, like always, we have an article here on alwaysdjango.com. I'll leave a description. I'll leave a link to it on the description below so that you can go check it out later. So we'll just reference the article. Let's continue. Have you ever noticed few puzzles and trick questions on websites before you submit a form or data to the server? Yeah, these are CAPTCHAs, and the most popular one should be the Google reCAPTCHA. We know about CAPTCHAs, but why do we need them? So Google, like nowadays, CAPTCHAs are very common, right? Especially the Google reCAPTCHA. Like, you guys, like, if you go to forms these days, like website forms, it's very common. Like, you see, like, when you see something like "I'm not a robot," you click on it, you see like a pop-up that says maybe identify the traffic lights, identify the mountains and hills, something like that. Those are CAPTCHAs. We should already know what CAPTCHAs are. So what are the importance of CAPTCHAs to a Django application? See, according to Google, of course, they are explaining the CAPTCHA. CAPTCHA protects your website from frauds and abuse without creating friction. Number one, prevents your Django application from brute attacks when hackers try to log into a system using multiple passwords. So there is a kind of attack by hackers where they come into a system, a website, they try to get access to the website. Obviously, what hackers do, they try different types of passwords. So basically, they tend to use maybe robots or scripts. They come to that website, they input different passwords, different credentials and everything, try random passwords like countlessly and everything. So with Django, with CAPTCHAs, it's not possible, right? Because CAPTCHAs make sure that a human being, an actual human being, is filling in the form. And when, like, you as a hacker, you have to input different passwords, it's time consuming, it's resources taking. So, like, it discourages brute attacks on your website. Number two, make processes like online payments, management, money management more secure and trustworthy. If you come to a website, you see a CAPTCHA on your form, it's and like, you come to a website, you see a CAPTCHA, it gives you a sense of trustworthiness for the website. It gives you a sense of, yes, I think they are trustworthy. Maybe they ask for anything like online payment or money management process where you have to input your maybe your card, ATM card, or into the website. With CAPTCHAs, those are protected, and it tends to make your users more trust, no, they have trust on your application, have trust on your software and whatever. Number three, protects your Django application comment sections if your project has one from unwanted links and spams. And I tell you the truth, on alwaysdjango.com, this is a major problem, bro. Like, people, like, generally come to this comment section, they come here, they just add, they just literally copy links and just come to this section, interlinks, and just comment them, right? So with reCAPTCHAs, it discourages people from doing that, right? So this should be the number. The fourth one, for a Django application with pooling system, is very much protects the integrity and trustworthiness of such a process, right? For a Django application with a pooling system, something like a voting system where you have to say maybe like, dislike, something like that, right? So it increases the trustworthiness and the integrity of that system. Obviously, people get to trust it, right? Then note, for this tutorial, I'm assuming you know how to create a Django project, and you obviously have a Django project. If you do not, you can check our tutorials on how to create a Django project, how to create a Django project with a virtual environment and everything. So this is an article here we have on alwaysdjango.com. I'm sure to add a link to it on the description. You can go check it out in case you don't know how to create a Django project. We also have an article here on how to create a Django project with a virtual environment. I'll also leave the link to this. I think we have a YouTube video on this, how to create a Django project with a virtual environment. If so, I'll also leave the link and maybe leave a clickable video on this YouTube video so that maybe you can go and check it out and everything. Now into the meat of the video, how to add CAPTCHAs to Django using django-simple-captcha package. Django-simple-captcha package is a Django package, is a Python package obviously used to add CAPTCHAs to a Django project. It is very easy to configure and deploy, right? Steps to adding CAPTCHA to a Django project. You have number one, install Django-simple-captcha on your project. So right here, I already created a simple Django project. Here. It really does nothing. Just we have a view, we have an application I called app, we have our URLs, we have our forms.py. Nothing is here. This is the index.py. We have our settings.py where we just added the application and the template folder. And the templates, we have this templates folder. This is where we have our templates. This is the index.py file, and our server is on. Right? This is what you get to see. Welcome alwaysdjango.com. Right? This is the template that is so a simple Django project, right? We just made it up for this tutorial. So you say the first step should be, let me close these tabs, these are not necessary. Close this. Sorry for this, all these distractions and things like. So you say first step, pip install django-simple-captcha. You come here, copy it. You say pip install django-simple-captcha. Come to your terminal. Let's stop our server. You come here, press enter. You enter the command pip install django-simple-captcha. You enter it. I will also leave this pip installation command on the description so that I can use it. But right, I say requirement already satisfied, obviously, because I already installed this package on my system. But if you do yours, it will run the pip installation process, the downloading process, collecting process, installation process, everything, gather it into your environment, your Python package or virtual environment, anywhere you're using, gather it to do for your project, right? So after the installation, let me bring this down back. After the installation, the second step will be edit the project settings.py file. In your settings.py file for your project, you have to tell Django about this installed package. Simply add CAPTCHA to the installed application list. So you add this CAPTCHA, go to your settings.py file, and the stored applications list, add CAPTCHA as installed application. So you come here, we come to our settings.py file, we go to our installed applications. In our installed application, I already added it. Just like I said, I recorded this video before, so some of these things I've already done. So you just come to your installed application, settings.py file for your project, installed applications, add CAPTCHA to the installed applications, and just to tell Django, hey, we are using this package for this project. Only installing it obviously will not make a difference, because like we need to run our migrations for this CAPTCHA application. For this application we added here, we need to run its migration. So without it being here, it will not recognize its migrations. Without its migrations, it will not make its changes to the database. Without these changes to the database, it will not work correctly. So you have to add CAPTCHA to your installed application for your Django project, which we do here. We have already done that. So let's continue. This third step, if I'm right, is a edit the project URL.py file. At this point, we include the django-simple-captcha URLs in the project root URLs.py file. You come here. I'll tell you honestly, I don't really know what this does, but you just have to make these changes to your URL.py file to get your CAPTCHA working correctly. I don't know what they do. I don't really care as far as it works. So we come to our urls.py file. Come to our url.py file. Don't mind me, man. Like, if you want to know what it does, maybe you could go find out, but I don't I don't think it's necessary to find out since it works, right? So we'll come to our url.py file for our application, our root url.py file for application, add this captcha stroke include captcha.urls, upload. Of course, you have to import this include package here for from django.urls, which is this. You have to import it, and that's it. That's the first step. The fourth step done, if I'm right. That's the third step done. So the first step is say run your migration. Since this package uses the database to store its secret keys, we need to migrate the database entries to work properly. So in your terminal opened to your Django applications, you say python manage.py migrate, just normal step for migrating your database entries to the database for your Django application. So we say python manage.py migrate, right? It migrates everything. All apply on migration. Like I said before, I've recorded this video before. All these migrations I've run it before. So but if you run this migration, it enters every migration to your database. These are the application. If you check here, we have this CAPTCHA application. This CAPTCHA application is the application that we just installed, the django-simple-captcha. This admin is for Django auth, for Django authentication, content type, Django content type, session, Django sessions and cachings and everything. So but this captcha is for the one we just installed now. This captcha is the captcha that we just added in our settings.py file for our installed application, which is this one. So let's continue. This is our fourth step done. Our fifth one, we say our fifth step, we say, where is it? We say add Django simple captcha field to Django forms. So of course, like Django captchas are used with captchas are used with forms. So this captcha, we treat it like a form, which makes sense. So we come here to our forms.py. I already created it in our application folder in this Django application. I already created this forms.py file. You obviously have to come here for you or and whatever editor you are using, forms.py, but I already created it, so it will not allow me. So that's it. You press enter, you create the file, and let's continue. So we say add Django. So right here in our forms file, we let's simply copy this. We copy this, come here, we paste it. So this is our captcha form. Let's change this to captcha. It's not a captcha form. So class captcha form, forms.py. Obviously this is how then you import captcha.fields, import the captcha field, instantiate it. And this is generally how you create forms in Django. If you don't know about forms in Django, we have an article here on Always Django on Django forms, where we explained in detail what Django forms are, discussing like we really went in depth here on Django forms, discussing topic introduction, how forms work, model form, creating model class, rendering to the template, handling submission and saving to the database, creating model editing forms, adding HTML attributes to the forms, Django core forms, validating Django forms, field validation, rendering error messages to the browser, non-field error, single field error, using Django Crispy forms, how to install Django Crispy forms. We really went in depth. If you don't I recommend, if you don't know what Django forms are, I seriously recommend maybe you pause this video, get back, read this article, maybe check YouTube for some videos to get in tune with what Django forms are, and get back into this video so that I can continue. So we created our Django form right here. So the next step should be, okay, here we talked adding captcha to Django model forms. Django model forms, they are forms made for models, right? Forms you can create out of your model structure, your database structure, and something like that. again, Django here, this article, we discussed all these things. Here you can see creating model classes, rendering them to the templates, model forms. So we discussed all these things in this article, right? Again, go and check it out so that you can really understand what you are doing here. But here you can see, let me see if I can do a little bit of explanation. So we don't need this import. So here we have our captcha form. We say forms.model form. You can see here is forms.forms. Here is a model form. Then we have our meta class. In our meta class, we define our model, which is the model we want to use, maybe the user model, product model, anything you want. Then here we should have a list of models, maybe something like maybe email, maybe username, password, something like that, right? But here we just use the or here, which means that everything in the model just comes out as a field, right? Again, just go to this is a tutorial for CAPTCHAS in Django, not really about Django forms, right? Again, if you want me to make a video on Django forms, leave a comment on the description. If I should see maybe 10 comments, I'll make a video on Django forms. If I should see 10 comments requesting a video on Django forms, I'll make a video on Django forms, like describing what Django forms are, model forms, ordinary forms, fields, configuring fields, crispy forms, and everything about Django forms. You get? So if I should see 10 comments, light up, I'm making the video, and that's it. So we continue here. Here we have our form with the crispy field. So we continue. So the next step should be display. Here we say to learn more about Django forms, check this article. This article is this article here, this Django forms article. Yeah, so we continue. So display, validate, and validate your CAPTCHA form. At this point, your CAPTCHA form is ready for use. You simply need to display, validate, and use them. So it is very important to know that the above created form is just like every other Django forms. So it has methods like validate, add error, clean, etc. So this Django form that has the CAPTCHA field instance is just like every other form in Django. It has the validate method, the clean method, clean data, is valid, and everything that ordinary Django forms has. If you don't know what ordinary Django forms has, go read this article up, leave a comment in the description. If I see 10 comments in the description telling me, Ezekiah, create this video on Django forms, I'm creating this video on Django forms right away. So here we say displaying it in the, so in our views, we go to our views. Let me simply copy this function here. Let me go to our views, copy this function here, go to our views.py. So in our views, we are simply returning the index.py, index.html file, sorry. So here we paste this. Let me scoop this in. Let me indent it very well. So let me import this, import this to, why is it running now? Okay, no indentation. I think we are good to go. So let's return it to the, let's create it as a context. What is wrong with me, man? What is wrong with me, man? Okay, have this. Let's say captcha form. Okay, so here we are creating an instance of the captcha form, returning it to the template. That's what we are doing here. If again, this is just how you handle forms in Django. If you don't know about it, leave a comment. It's becoming retarded right now. Leave a comment on the description requesting me to do a video on it, or read the article on alwaysdjango.com, which I'll leave on the description, link on the description. So let's continue, man. So if request on method is equal to post, we say captcha form is equal to captcha form, which we imported here. We pass in the request.post, which are the data that we are getting in. We confirm if it is valid. If it's valid, we return a response which is captcha form is valid. If it's not valid, we we fall into this block right here. When we fall into this block right here, this has already been created. We now return this to the data to the template. But if we are using maybe a get request, this is the instance, a fresh instance of the CAPTCHA form, we turn it here. But if we are not using a get request, that's if we are not going to the browser and reloading, going to the browser and entering the URL, we are using we are using the form. That means we are using a post method, and this will be the instance. This instance will contain the error and everything. We return it to the index and into the template, and in the template we should render this out. In the template, let's render this out. Let me say form method should be post. I'll render this out. Then let me add our submit button. Put type should be submit. If I can type, that is value. Let me say validate. Oh god, validate now. Let's close that. What else? Let's add the CSRF token. Wow, CSRF token. Right. So we go to our browser. Let's start our server again. Go to our browser. By God's grace, we should see a form there with our CAPTCHA. We say what this say. We say CAPTCHA form is reference between. Let's see the error. Let's see local variable CAPTCHA form reference between assignment. Let's see what is wrong. Let's come here. We say this is this. This is this. If this is this, let me take this inside and see. Yeah, so that is it. Again, if you don't understand what I'm doing here, leave a comment on the description. I will explain Django forms in details so that you understand what is going on here. So but if you should pause this video, look at the code very well, read the code very well, I think you should understand what is going on. If we are making a post request, we enter this block, we say CAPTCHA form is equal to this, we pass in the data that we are receiving. If it's valid, we return this response. If it's not valid, of course it will fall out of this block and it will come here. But already then this variable will be this variable will be of this value, right? But if it's not a post request, it will be of this value. Here it is empty. Here it will contain our errors when it's returned to the index.py file. If you don't understand, leave a comment in the description. I'm tired of saying it. So let's continue. So right here you say this is our CAPTCHA. So let's try to enter a wrong CAPTCHA, anything. Invalid CAPTCHA. Our CAPTCHA is not valid. Obviously this was wrong. But if we try to enter something right, and I think this is WWBA, right? CAPTCHA is valid, right? So this is it. HTTP response, CAPTCHA is valid. Here you can do whatever you want. You can maybe CAPTCHA form dot save to the database. You can maybe messages dot success request, return a success message, or let me be responsible enough to say maybe user created successfully. Then you have to import from django.contrib import messages, right? So like anything you want to run here when the CAPTCHA is correct, that's what I'm trying to say. Anything you want to run here when the CAPTCHA is correct, you obviously have to run and continue. So at this point our CAPTCHA is working, is displaying, we are displaying our errors, we are validating, we can save to the database and everything, and our CAPTCHA is working like 100%. But there are some add-ons, some auxiliary maybe tags, quote unquote, that we can add. Maybe something like how to add attributes like HTML attributes like class, values, IDs to the CAPTCHA fields. For instance you are using, let me say, Bootstrap, or you want to add the class, target the class in CSS, typical stuffs, or target an ID in JavaScript, or whatever you want to do. Target these elements, style them, use them in JavaScript, so and so, right? So we look at how to add attributes like class and ID to your CAPTCHA widget. We use the django-simple-captcha text input widget. So again, we discussed this in the Django forms. I'll leave the description below. How to add attributes to your form. It is typical. This process is very much typical for all Django forms. So this is the widget we are going to use, this CAPTCHA text input. We'll go to our forms. We import the CAPTCHA text input, right? We come here, having an attribute of widget. In this widget, oh, that was wrong. In this widget, we copy this, we go here, it has an attribute. In this attribute, you can say class, the class is form control, right? For control. So our CAPTCHA field, we have this class of form control. So let's verify, let's check our server is running, right? So let's check, where is it? Here. So let's check whether this form has the form control class. So here you can see form control. So it has the form control class, which you can see here, form control. So if you want to target it in CSS, you can come here, we start it already, form control class. Or let's start afresh, let's say dot form control. You can say padding is 1M, then maybe we say something like line space line height should be, let me say 1.2M. whatever you want to do really. So you can also add, if you come here now, you can see, let's refresh, you can see this has, it has a padding of 1M, 1 emphasis, of course CSS emphasis. You have line 1.2 emphasis, right? So this is how you add your class. You can add an ID. You can come here, maybe say ID, let me say, give it a value of target ID. Whatever you want to do, you can add value, you can add whatever you want to do really. So whatever HTML attribute you want to add to this form, you can add it here. So let's continue. All right. So also there are some like other settings you can use to modify our CAPTCHA. They say our CAPTCHA is working properly, but there are some tweaks and modifications that we could make to it, right? These variable setting changes should be made in your settings.py file, in your settings.py file. So in your settings.py file, these changes we are going to make to tweak our CAPTCHA field should be here in your settings.py file. Number one is the CAPTCHA font size. Like its name implies, we have pixel size to render text in the CAPTCHA font field. So by default is 22, so 22 pixels, right? So but we can bump it up, we can reduce it, we can do whatever we want. Let's go with 40 pixels, right? Let's go with 40 pixels. So our server saw before to make changes to these settings.py file. So if we go to 40 pixels, we go here, we load. If we check here, this will increase, but like it's not really obvious, right? So let me just add a 0, make it 400, make it very obvious. Let's make it 400, reload. 400 is gigantic, is very big. So 400 pixels, that's it. So this is the CAPTCHA font size. The second one we discussed here is the letter rotation. This is the X and Y value for the rotation of the CAPTCHA text. That's this text here, how much it will rotate, how big the rotation will be. You get? So let's try that. They say the default here is minus 35. That's X minus 35, Y 35, right? So let's take it to, let me say minus 400 and 400. Let's just, our server stopped again. Let's restart. Let's restart. So reload. The rotation is much more bigger now, right? So because we cranked up the captcha letter rotation, let's move on to the next one. The next one should be background color, background captcha background color. Obviously, the as its name specified, the value specified the background color for the captcha field, right? So let's go here. Let's say background color is equal to, let me say maybe white, or let's say red, so that it will be very much obvious. So red will load. Hopefully this is red, so it's red. We all have the foreground color used to change the foreground and everything. So there are lots of them that you can change. So here we have you can come over to this. I'll leave a link to this page here on the description. You can come check it out. You have the captcha font part, font size. We talked about it. Captcha image size, we didn't talk about it. Captcha rotation, we talked about it. Background color, foreground color, captcha function, mathematics challenge operation, I don't really know what that does. Captcha noise function, I don't know what that does. So if you're interested, you can just come here. I'll leave the link to this article in the description. You can just come here, read it up, do what you want, and that's it. So that's really it, guys. It's very easy to implement a captcha in your Django application. So that's really it. Thank you for staying tuned. If you made it to this point of the video, I say congratulations, man. So if you found this video interesting, like, subscribe, share, comment. You have any question, again, if you want to see the video on Django forms, leave a comment in the under the video telling me to make a video on Django forms. If I see 10 comments saying Hezekiah make a tutorial on Django forms, I'll go in depth into Django forms, explaining everything you need to know about Django forms. And that's it. Thank you. Peace.